Council. I hadn't really planned on speaking. I actually don't like speaking in groups. I'm one of the 24 officers who's scheduled to be let go in about 12 short days. With that being said, me and the other 23...
Excuse me, Mr. Mailer. Back feed is...
Yeah, we can hear it in the back.
Yeah. It's actually getting worse. Okay, while we're trying to figure it out, why don't you proceed? Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We have continued, even though over the last several weeks, not knowing where our futures lie, not knowing how we're going to pay our mortgages, feed our kids, continued to come to work and serve the people of this city. Continued to protect not only the citizens that live here, but the citizens that are sitting up there looking at me speaking right now. Because we protect you as well as everyone else sitting behind me, as well as each other. In the last 4 years, some of the incidents that I will tell you are dead children, people that have hung themselves, people that have crashed their cars and motorcycles and had pieces of them on the roadway. This city has told us that we are expendable. We are a budget item on a line. When you continue to tell people that, eventually they're going to believe it. When those men and women that put that uniform on every day and night and go to work start believing you, who's going to do what they do now? Who's going to comfort that parent who's lost their child? Who's going to cut down that teenager who's hung himself? Who's going to pick up the pieces off the roadway? Who's going to comfort the wife who's been beaten? Who's going to take the one that did it to jail? You are sending a very poor message to not only the people that work and protect this city, but to the people that live here, that you have put buildings, roadways, landscaping above their safety, above the safety of them, above the safety of their children, okay, above the safety of the businesses that are here. I understand your intentions for tradition, for a biotech corridor to bring big business here. Had the economy worked out different, it might have worked out wonderfully. Big business, big jobs would have been great. We don't have that right now. What we do have is still a community with 180,000 some odd people who deserve protection, who deserve to go to sleep at night knowing that there's someone like me that's willing to put my life in line and maybe not go home and see my 3 children tomorrow to make sure they sleep okay. Thank you.
My name is Robert Loop. I'm a taxpayer and citizen of Port St. Lucie for the last 17 years. A couple things I wanted to say. I was going to sit back and not say anything, but I feel I have to at this point. First of all, mention was made about special interest groups. And the one thing that irritates me the most about that is the fact that the unions are considered special interest groups. But we're out there working every single day for everyone. Whether you're in public works, working in the parks, we all work together for the citizens of the city. You made mention that you didn't want to be bullied by special interest groups, but yet Waste Pro is one of these special interest groups that ended up having their contract extended before it was up, along with now working there. But yet the unions are bullying you into doing something, and we're not. Second of all, another thing that irritates me is how we get publicly bashed, whether it's here on the dais or whether it's in the council retreats. But yet the same union attorney that we have benefits 2 people in council, benefits their families. These layoffs don't need to occur because the one thing that nobody has answered, and we have asked several times, the $470-some thousand that was paid out in raises. If we don't have the money, why are we giving it out? Why? Nobody has answered that. And I understand that times are tough and everybody's got to tighten their belts. I do understand that. But when I see 24 people, 8 people before the 24, having to live day in and day out with the fear of being laid off and nobody telling them what they're going to do, because one minute you're fine, the next minute we're laying you off. These people have families just like everybody else. Yes, there's civilians that are being laid off. Everybody's been laid off. But nobody has answered why $477,000 has gone to administrators. Everybody, when we get answers, they're worth it. They're worth it. Well, I feel that these men and women out here are worth it. I feel that the civilians that work for the city are worth it. Everybody is worth it. These layoffs don't have to occur. You guys can do the right thing. You can, and I hope that you do. And I felt I had to get up and say something. Thank you.
Mayor and city council members, everybody knows who I am. I wasn't going to say anything, but I had some concerns, and it touched my heart deeply. And something was said not too long ago about police officers not being special, that they are just the same as anybody else in any given job. I heard some lawyers say that, but that's wrong. I'm not going to knock or belittle any other department, whether it be parks and recs, whether it be the building department, or any other department that the city have, because everybody need a job to support their family. But my biggest thing, we may not be special as police officers, but we are different, because there's no other occupation that, as far as the civilian corps and the police corps. The police corps, we got a 15, 20-page application to fill out before we get hired. A regular civilian job, you got 3 or 4 pages to fill out. Before we get hired, we got to have 2 psychological tests. And that's over 1,000-something questions for each one of those tests. You see whether or not we are sane to partake or become officers. And then we got to take 2 polygraphs before we even get hired to be a police officer. And then we got to do 5 to 6 months in a police academy to get hired, to be trained in basic police law enforcement training. And then we had to be certified by FDLE. So we may not be special, but we are different. But we are. And I just want to say this before I leave. Police officers do make a difference, especially when you had your DARE program, you had your GREAT program, you get your Explorer program, and you get your Pell program. Because my wife would tell you, if she was here right now, she would tell you, I cannot go anywhere in the city without one child saying, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, that's my DARE officer, that's Officer White. Do we make a difference? Yes, we make a difference. And the last thing I'm going to say before I leave, I work with some of these officers. Some of these officers that's getting laid off. Just last week, I spoke to a female officer at the briefing. She was in tears. She don't know how she's going to pay her monthly mortgage. She don't know how she's going to pay her bills. She's putting applications out. She's trying to, but nobody's hiring police officers right now. But I just want you to consider one thing. We have made this city a safe city for a long time. And we need to continue to keep that reputation. If we start laying off officers, I don't know what may happen. I kiss my wife every night to say goodbye, hoping to see her the next morning. We are different. We may not be special. Thank you.
Thank you.